Talk to us about glucose spikes and why are people measuring their glucose levels? What does that show us?
Yeah.
And what are we trying to get our glucose to map at?
So when we eat a meal or food that contains a lot of glucose, so for example, a chocolate cake is a good option, a good example, or a plate of pasta or anything else that's starchy or sweet, when we deliver that glucose very quickly to our body, we experience what's called a glucose spike, which means just a rapid increase in how much glucose is in your body. And if you're wearing a glucose monitor, you will see this. It will look like this mountain that's just rising and rising and rising, and then it crashes. You don't need to wear a glucose monitor to understand the benefits of my work, by the way, but it's a cool visual tool. So what happens in your body when we spike? Why is it bad for us? There are three main mechanisms that are going on a physiological level that make these spikes damaging. The first one has to do with our mitochondria. The mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. Most people remember that from biology class. So your mitochondria are these little factories inside your cells that are responsible for turning glucose molecules into energy. Okay? They're incredibly important. The problem is when you give them a glucose spike, so when you deliver them a bunch of glucose molecules very quickly, they break down. They kind of go on strike. You know, it's like when you have so much to do on your to-do list that you're just like, I can't do anything. I have to go nap. That's the feeling they get. They're like overwhelmed by all these glucose molecules and they cannot do their job properly anymore. And so what happens, you feel this as fatigue. So you keep eating this sugar and these carbs, but you're exhausted. You wake up in the morning, you're tired. Going to the grocery store is exhausting. Playing with your kids is draining. Your mitochondria are not functioning properly anymore. And that's why one of the main symptoms of having glucose spikes, which most of us have, is this sense of chronic fatigue. Now, the second thing that happens in our body when we spike has to do with cooking. So, you know, if you put something in the oven, like a chicken, and it goes from pink to brown, the chicken has cooked. And the browning process is called glycation. The chicken has glycated. It has cooked. Now, a human being, from the moment we're born, we're slowly cooking. We're slowly glycating. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. For example, if you look at the cartilage of babies, it's white. But if you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 100 years old, the cartilage is brown. We glycate. We brown as we age. And so much so that glycation is actually pretty similar to aging. And then when we're fully glycated, when we're fully cooked, when we're fully aged, we die. So glycation is a process that we can't stop. We can't stop aging. You know, there's billionaires trying to reverse aging, but so far they haven't been able to. But we can slow it down or speed it up. And glucose spikes have something to do with this.
Right.
Glucose and glycation kind of sound like similar words. It's because it is the glucose that is doing the glycating.
The aging.
Yep.
The cooking.
The cooking. So the more glucose spikes you have, the faster you age.
Wow.
And this shows on your skin.
Wow.
You get more wrinkles and your organs slowly age as well. So that's the second thing.
I had no idea.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Wow.
And the third thing that happens when we have a glucose spike, well, all of these processes, so the mitochondria and the glycation, they also increase inflammation. And inflammation is just a nasty thing in the human body. It causes lots and lots of issues. Today, 3 out of 5 people are going to die of an inflammation-based disease. So inflammation is not good. You want to bring that down. And the third thing that happens when we have a glucose spike is that your body knows that these spikes are not good for you. Your body, when it senses this big glucose spike, it calls your pancreas and it's like, hey, we need to get this glucose down. So your pancreas sends out a hormone called insulin, and insulin is amazing. And she grabs all the excess glucose molecules and stashes them away into your liver, into your muscles, and into your fat cells. And that's one of the ways that we gain fat on our body. But then too much insulin over time, that's the reason we get type 2 diabetes. So essentially you have mitochondrial fatigue, glycation, inflammation, diabetes. And then a whole bunch of other symptoms you might feel depending on your personal health history, like brain fog, like hormonal issues that could lead to infertility, et cetera, et cetera. Basically what I'm saying, Jay, is that if you want a healthy body, a healthy mind, you need to make sure you're not on a glucose roller coaster because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for your body to function and for you to feel your best if you're experiencing glucose spikes on a daily basis.